Hi everybody, Kat here. Thanks for joining me again today. What I have planned today is a beginner-friendly little Christmas scene that you could use for a card. I know a few of the comments that I get are that I make things look so easy, and while that's lovely, I really want it to be, I want you to feel like you can do it. So I have some nice natural light coming in the window. I hope that's going to be good enough today. I have several blues. I'll tell you what they are as I go along. But first, I have drawn just a few light wavy lines. And out of some MAC tack that I had left over from a project, I cut out the shape of a snowman and a moon. It can be tricky to get this off, but my suggestion to you is to use like a pin to wedge between the two edges and it should be okay. Okay, I think I want the snowman around here. That's good enough. And the moon around here. Yeah, right around here. And there we go. That just makes it easier for me to do the background. I don't have to worry about the going around all the shapes, and I'm a bit of a sloppy painter, so I don't want to have to be that careful. So the first brush I'm going to use is something that comes to a fairly good point. It's nice and soft, but it does come to a point, and I'm going to be working upside down. So I chose to mix for the snow some cobalt blue, and some turquoise. Think a bit more turquoise. And turn your work upside down and go from the edge of the bottom of the painting all the way up to your pencil line. And it can be nice and wavy because this is going to be a drift of snow. And with the tip of your brush, just pop that in on the edge and let it work its way up. So when this is turned right side around, the bottom of the snowdrift will be darker than the top. So let's get that going. Now I'm rinsing my brush, and I'm just going to go along the side, the edge of that paint, just like that. Just to remind it to come up here. I think it needs a little bit more here, a little bit more paint. And takes patience. Okay, I think I'm liking that. Now on this edge here, it went beyond my pencil line, which is no big deal, but if you know me, I don't like pencil lines, so I really want to be able to cover that. So I'm just dabbing with a tissue along that edge, and you'll see why in a couple of minutes. Okay, just dab that, and I'm going to turn my work right side, and that's what it's looking like right now, and I'm going to allow this to dry 100%, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that everything's dry, I am going to follow my next line with my clean water, the same brush. I'm just going to follow that line that I drew, and I'm going to go up to my next line because I have 3. You can do this any shape you like, but I have 3 hills here. So with this color on my brush, I'm going to go right to the edge, and that's going to be the darkest spot on your hill here. And you can make it as wavy as you like or as straight as you like. I think I'm going to come down there a little bit. Just mixing up a bit more paint. And that's going to be the darkest. And okay, and you're going to let it come up. And if it's not going to travel the way you want it, or fast enough, or whatever, it is traveling here. I'm just being impatient. You see right here. So I'm going to coax it. I'm going to take my wet brush. It's not sopping wet, but not just damp. And I'm going to try to coax it up. I think I need more paint. Okay, so I'm going to coax it up here again. I think my paper's dried a bit. Okay, and then turn it over. This is what it's looking like, and now we are going to dry it again. So that is dry enough for the next step. The next step is my little final hill. I have one over here, and it comes up here. There's my pencil line, which I am erasing because I can't stand them. But if you need your pencil line, just paint over it. That's no problem. Once again, turn your work upside down. You're going to wet the area where you want the paint to be. Up to your last pencil line. You could do this in 2 layers or 3 layers or 4 layers, whatever you like. Okay, and again. Nice juicy paint. And we're going to go around there. The color's a little different, so maybe try to make sure that you've mixed up enough paint. I'll see if I could change that color a bit. There, that way it matches. Okay, so let this work its way up. I'm just going with a damp brush to soften this off. And this I'm going to try and coax it up into the top of that hill. So you just want it to fade off into the white snow because the moonlight is causing the tips of the snow to look very white. The tips of the hills, I should say. Okay, and I think I'm going to put a little bit more down here. Just like that. You can make it look as wavy as you like. If you work upside down, you have a different perspective. And there we have our 3. There we have our 3. And now I find that a little bit too turquoisey for snow. So let's add in a bit more of that cobalt. There we go. Yeah, I like that a bit better. Has a bit of a more icy look to it, I think. Damp brush, coax that along, and actually using the 2 colors, it kind of looks, I think it looks nice. If you feel you're too heavy-handed in places, you just lift it with a thirsty brush. So you rinse off your brush, you dry it off on some paper towel, and you just lift. Like that. Dab it on some toweling. And when you turn this over, you're just going to have this very natural looking little hill. Take some tissue. There we go. And turn it around, and voila, that's what you have. So I'm going to dry this again, and I'll be right back. Okay, that third little mound of snow is dry. And now it's time to do the sky. I want this to look like nighttime. So I will be mixing, since I have this blue left, I can use that. I was going to use Daniel Smith, just indigo, and mix it into the blue that I have. And that way you're guaranteed that your painting is going to be matchy-matchy because you're using all the same colors. So what's here is going to be here. So of course, like the first time, I'm going to wet the sky right up to that mound where you want the white. Now I want the tops of these mounds to be white. So I'm following my pencil line that I had put in. I'm going to wet that. I'm working on a block of a watercolor block. So if you don't have that, tape off your paper so that you can move it around. Tape it onto a board of some kind so you can move it around quite easily. Now the moon is here. So the lightest part of the sky is going to be around the moon. So the darkest will be over here and then over here. So once again, I'm turning my work upside down and I'm loading my brush with this dark paint. And I'm going to start over here. And I'm just dropping that in, because we can add more as we go. I just want to determine to establish the edge of my hills here. And over here will be fairly dark. And over here. And I kind of like when the colors start separating out from each other. It just makes it look super interesting. So I'm going to go over that moon. And it's going to get darker and darker over here. Gradually dark until we get to that corner. It's going to be super dark. Just mixing up a bit more color. Now, it's also going to be quite dark down at the bottom here. So now I'm going to turn my work the proper direction in just 1 second. It's just easier to paint this part upside down. Putting nice dark blobs of paint. They're going to soften out because your paper is still wet. Okay. Just want it to be lightest around the moon. And this will all soften out on its own. If it doesn't, you just gently, gently work it around. Don't forget that this is your piece of work. So your piece of art, so you can do whatever you like with it. So different parts of the sky. Okay, so if you can let this dry by itself, it always turns out that slight bit better if you can do it. If you don't have the patience, I hear ya. I'm the same. Just a bit of a harsh line here. I'm just going to use some Kleenex to take that out. Now with a very soft, thin brush, I'm getting some water on the tip of it, just the very tip, and I'm going to add a couple of just want it to look like a bit of a starry sky. Just very tiny little dots of water. This paint is still a bit too wet to do it, so I'll wait a few more minutes. If you want to put a star like that, you can. Couple more minutes. I don't know if you can see the sheen. See, there's still quite a sheen there, and on this side it's less. So as soon as that side looks like this side, I can add those little star shapes. I'll try it again. Yeah, I think it might work. Sometimes I prefer this to flicking white paint because if you've watched any of my videos, I end up with it on my glasses. I end up with it everywhere, except for the painting sometimes. There, just want it to look like a starry sky. Or snow, it could look like snow. So now I have to let this dry completely. I will be using my hair dryer, so you'll see what that looks like. But if you don't use your hair dryer, it's going to dry a little more softly. When you use your hair dryer, you're seizing it, sort of, you're stopping it from doing what it kind of wants to do naturally. I will be using a hair dryer and I'll be right back. Okay, now what I will do is lift this moon. So I bought this at the dollar store. It's a dental pick, which I wouldn't use in my mouth, but I use it for my crafty things, and this is one of them. So when I'm working with paper, so just gently, because I've been blow drying it, so I have to be gentle because I'm not using like super high quality paper, so just slowly peel that off. Okay, so what I want to do is first is the background trees, but I want a major tree to be right here. I think I'll do the outline of this tree first and then work on the rest. So just getting some Hooker's green. I like that color. And I used my large brush to mix the color, but I'm not going to be using my large brush to paint it because I will get ultra sloppy. So now I'm going to move to a size 4. And I want it to be here and here. So just going to come up here. And it's very watery. I will be doing this again. I just want to establish the body of the tree, where exactly it's going to be. When you're painting your tree, there's all different methods, but I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, especially if I'm using this as a card, and I think I might make a few of these cards. Now with an even smaller brush, I'm going to take some of this indigo color here. I'm going to add a little tiny bit of black into it. So I'm just adding some black into this indigo mix that I used for the sky. And I'm going to just do some trees here, as wavy as I can, and try your best not to get too uniform about it, because it's natural. That's exactly what your brain wants you to do. It works well in patterns, and so your trees can end up looking all the same. Just some little tiny just like that. Okay, and you can do them any color you want. I just wanted to do them dark because it implies that they're far back and you can't see any detail. Now into that black, I'm going to take my green. So they're going to be really dark green trees back here. And I'm going to put one right in front of this moon. Okay, like that. I'm zigzagging sort of back and forth to the side and out to the front. You can make it as full as you want or as scarce as you want. I don't want there to be too much attention paid to this tree. So, but it is kind of neat if some of the sky shows through. Okay, and we're going to do another one here. This one I'll put a little bit taller. See, this one I'm going to go back and forth this way. Just like that. A bit more water on my brush. Okay, and I'll do a couple more over here. Make sure that you're staying pretty dark. These are going to be really tiny. I hope you can see that okay. Another one down here. And you can add, like I said, you can add anything you want. You can add a few more tree branches and stuff in the background. Anything you like. Oops. Let me take that off. I don't like that. There we go. Gone. So I'm going to leave it like this. And I'm going to start paying more attention to this now. So the moonlight is here. So this side of the tree would be darker. So I'm going to work on this side first. So I'm going to take this green and add a bit of that dark to it. And I'm going to work on this side. Just adding a bit of shadowing, but mostly on this side of the tree. A little bit here, I guess, here and there. And on this side, in the back here, I just want to add a tiny bit, just a tiny bit of yellow into this tree on this side. So it looks a little bit lighter because of the moonlight. And this one's so in front of the moonlight that you can't see what color it is. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Same with this. This one's going to be a bit lighter on that side. You don't have to add all that. These are tiny little details that really make a difference in your painting. So we'll let this dry and we're going to work on the snowman. I think I stuck my hand in green paint. I sure did. So I don't have very clean water, but you should use clean water for this. And scrub it up a little bit. And what to do is go over it with white paint because, you know, these things happen. So now I'm going to uncover my snowman. Okay, once again, slowly because I've been blow drying this thing. So before I start painting, I just want to draw in my hat and scarf so I can see the outline of the scarf here. And don't forget that everything's round, so everything will be round. There's no straight lines. Everything's round. Then we can have like the part of the scarf that is hanging down there where you tie the scarf. We're going to go back to this snow color. So I'm going to use a bit of turquoise and a bit of cobalt blue and quite a bit of water. And we're going to make this little guy look round. So to make something look round, you have to be, it's going to be darker where the scarf will be. And then where he comes around, the light's going to catch it, so it's going to be lighter. So he's going to be darker again underneath his body. Okay, and then you wet your brush and you're going to softly drag that out. I think I have green on my brush. Okay, so you're going to drag that out. Okay, just like that. Just so the lightest part of the snowman is in the front because of the moonlight and the side. Same with this side. And you see how carefree I'm being. He's pretty dark in the back because, boy, do I ever have a lot of green in my brush. Oh yeah, oh well. You know what it's supposed to look like. Okay. And the same for the face. So the back of the head is going to be darker. And the front of the face is going to be really bright. And underneath the hat. And then we're going to just soften all that out. Just like that. If you're having trouble, you just dab the side, this where his cheeks would be. Okay. Oh, the green kind of worked. That's okay. Now we're going to just let that dry for a couple of seconds. I'm going to work on the shadow because right now it looks like it's sitting right on top of the snow. So I'm going to take some of this night color that we used. And the moon's coming from this direction, so we're going to get it nice and dark under his little bum. And we're just going to make a nice shadow in the snow. There. Now this tree will also make a shadow in the snow but on the opposite side because of the direction of the moonlight. But I don't want to overdo it, so We're going to do it like that. Okay, so now I'm going to add a bit of the snow color to soften that. There. Back to our snowman. I'm going to use 2 reds. I'm using a cool red and a warm red. So the warm red is the one that looks closer to the yellow, and the cool red looks closer to pink. Oh, this brush is too small. So I'm just going to go with my thickest paint in the back because it's going to be darker back here. And I come around. And you can make this any color you like. You can add polka dots and stripes and, you know, make it fun. And I'll just quickly do the scarf. If you leave a few white spots, it kind of shows you where the light is catching. So that's okay to leave a few white spots. It looks good like that. Now I use the cool red, kind of where the shadows would be. So under the pom-pom here, and in the back of the hat. And the scarf. And I'm going to leave that right now. I don't want to touch any more of that snowman. Oh yeah, the face is pretty dry, so I can do the little coal eye. So I'm using black for the eye. And he is looking at the tree. So his eye is going to be right there. I'm going to put a side of a smile here. Okay, and then with some orange and yellow, because most oranges and yellows, not all, but most, they have an opacity to them. They're opaque, so what happens is they show up on top of your other painting. So I'm just going to put a little tail end of a carrot stick there. A little bit hard for you to see, I think, so I'll do it in, I'll make it a bit more yellow. There. See if you can see this. Okay. Now, as I said, you can make stripes or polka dots. I think I'm going to put a couple of stripes on the hat. I'm going to use some green on the hat because I have it here. Just like that. They're very small, subtle little decorations that you can add to your painting, but it really does make a difference. And what I like about this composition is that you can write your message here, or you can leave it blank. I have a few people in on my card list that have actually, they frame my cards, which is so sweet. I mean, you can't get nicer than that. So I think I'm going to go underneath the snowman one more time with some blue, dark blue and indigo. And I'm just going to make it a teeny bit darker right there. And then I'm going to wet my brush, dab it off, and draw it out. Just so it's a little bit darker. There we have it. Okay, and the last but not least, the last part is to put some white on this painting for some snow. I have a very, very inexpensive paintbrush that probably was in some cheapy set that I got for stenciling, or so I tend to use this when I want to dab. So I'm going to stick it into my white paint. I'm going to dab it onto my palette, and then I'm going to just start dabbing some snow onto these trees. So I put a little tiny bit of paint. Whoops, a little bit more than that. Tiny bit of paint, dab. Okay, so you can do them on the background here. You could do it on your branches. This one I'm not really dabbing, I'm kind of dragging it along. So just so they look like there's some snow here. Here too a little bit. Okay, and then of course this one. So this one, you're going to be able to see it a little better. So we're going to go on top of the branches a little more precisely than the others. But I'm still using that dabbing motion. And if you put snow here in the middle, it looks like it's sitting on a branch. Gives that illusion, even though you didn't paint one there. And I'm getting lighter and lighter as I go to the top, because the branches are smaller and smaller. There, I think that's pretty good. If you see anywhere that you kind of messed up, you can always add that. And what I like to do on the pom-pom of the hat, because it looks too perfect, so I'm just going to go around the edge like that. I think I'm going to deepen the blue of the Snowman. My water is getting very murky because I've used red and blue and some green. So I'm going to come back here. I'm just making very, very soft, juicy sort of brush strokes. Just dabbing it to give it, it's kind of painterly looking, and it's going to give it, it's going to make it look a little darker where it should be. I found them a bit pale. Don't be shy to use your finger. There we go. And if you make him darker, what happens is you can tell that where the moonlight is shining a bit better. If you don't like your brush strokes, you wet your brush and you just soften them out a little bit. I like the brush strokes. In fact, I've been practicing a portrait using brush strokes like that, and I really quite like it. Okay, the cobalt is here. Oops. There we go. Bit more red. If your red's not dark enough, put a little bit of violet into it. And then you can go around where you think the lines would be in the scarf. The folds. And you can decorate this Christmas tree. I think that's what I'm going to do right now. So I have this very inexpensive set. I bought this. It's Artist Loft, which is Michael's. It's a collection of iridescent paints. And so I don't use them very often on things, but I'm going to put some nice shiny red lights on here. You can put candy canes, you can put anything you like on your Christmas tree. And then I think I'm going to try to put like a yellowy, but my water is so green. I'm hoping that they turn out nice and yellow. Nice bright color. And yeah, not bad. And that'll be a part of the card that has a little bit of shimmer to it. You might not be able to see it on my painting here. I'll try and catch the light. So you can make this tree as big as you like. You can decorate it the way you like. But this is just an idea for you for another Christmas card for this season. I can't believe we're already 1 month away from Christmas. It sure doesn't feel like it here in Montreal. We still have leaves on the tree. They're coming down, but there's still leaves. Okay, and as I so often do after I finish my painting, I leave the room and then I come back and I fiddle a little bit. So I am going to soften the moon, I've decided. So I think what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of that raw sienna and a little bit of lemon yellow, just a tad, just to give it a hint of a glow. Just like that. I don't want it to look like the sun or anything. And now I'm going to call it completed. Oh, I forgot little arms. Let's paint little arms. So let's get some good brown going. Okay, so I can put it there and come up. Just a branch like that. Make it a little bit thicker by here. Try not to make it too straight. There. And now I'm going to call it done. I hope you enjoyed this video, And if you did, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Happy watercoloring, everybody. Bye-bye.